Good morning, students. We have completed our first lesson, that is food. Where does it come from? Now we are moving to second lesson, that is components of food. Components of food means what? What are the nutrients or what is present in the food which we are eating? We'll see the introduction of the second lesson. In first lesson, we had seen the different items eaten in different parts of India and marked it on the map. A meal could consist of chapati, dal and a curry. Another may be rice, sambar and vegetable. Preparation of lady finger, that is bhindi. Yet another meal could be appam, fish curry and vegetables. You can see a plate in which a dal is there, chapati is there and a vegetable is there. Now the next is the activity 1. If our meal usually have at least one item made of some kind of grain, other item could be dal or dish of meat and vegetable. It may also include items like curd, buttermilk and pickles. Some examples of meals from different regions are different. Sometimes we may not really have all this variety in our meal. Every day we are not eating the same food. We are eating different kind of food. If we are traveling, we may eat whatever is available on the way. At that time we don't get what we need to eat. We have to eat whatever we are getting at that time. It may not be possible for some of us to eat such a variety of items most of the time. Why? There must be some reason though. Why meals usually consist of such a distribution? Do you think that our body needs different kinds of food for some special purpose? Why we are eating different foods at the different times, or why we are getting different kinds of foods in different states? Because our body needs different kinds of food. Now the next is 2.1, that is what do different food items contain? Different food items means we have seen cereals, pulses, then fatty food. So what these food items contain? We know that each dish is usually made up of one or more ingredients. For example, for preparing dal, we are adding salt, turmeric, water, then tomatoes, chilies and all, which we get from plants or animals. These ingredients contain some components that needed by our body. These components are called nutrients. The major nutrients in our food are named carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins and minerals. So whatever the food we are eating, it contains some components needed by our body and that components are called nutrients. So what are the different kinds of nutrients our body needs? That are carbohydrates, which we get from the cereals, then proteins, which we get from some pulses or animal products, fats like ghee, butter, vitamins and minerals. In addition, food also contains fibers and water, which are also needed by our body. Now we can test whether cooked food or a raw ingredient contains one or more of these nutrients. The presence of carbohydrates, proteins and fats. Okay, so how you will carry out this test? For carrying this test, we need solution of iodine, copper sulfate and caustic soda. We also need few test tubes and dropper. You can see here that a boy and a girl, they are having the solution of iodine, they are having test tubes and some raw ingredients. Try these tests cooked food items as well as on raw materials. Now, whenever we are doing such kind of test, we need to take care and not to try to eat or taste any chemicals. If the required solutions are not available in ready-made form, we can prepare it by our own. Now let us begin by tasting different food items to see if they contain carbohydrates. Many types of carbohydrates are there. The main carbohydrate found in our food are in the form of starch and sugar. So there are so many types of carbohydrates present, but the main form of carbohydrate found in our food is starch and sugar. We can easily test if a food item contains starch. Now we are going to see the test for the starch. Take a small quantity of a food item or a raw ingredient. You can see that they have taken a raw ingredient or a food item in the dish. Now put 2 or 3 drops of dilute iodine solution. This is the iodine solution diluted. Diluted means mixed with water. Observe if there is, and the girl is holding a test tube. She has taken iodine solution in the test tube and she is putting drops on the food. If there is the change in the color of the food item, if it will turn blue, black, then we can say that the food item contains starch. A blue-black color indicates that it contains starch. Now we can repeat this test with other food items to find out which of these contains starch, and we can write in the table. Now the next is the test for protein. You can see the boy is having the same a test tube, then a dropper and 2 bottles. What is written on the bottles? Here it is caustic soda and here it is copper sulfate. And which test we are going to do? We are going to do test for protein. So for testing the presence of protein, we need these 2 chemicals. One is caustic soda and another is copper sulfate. Okay, so what we have to do? We have to take a small quantity of food items for testing. First, need to make a paste of it or powder it. Whatever the food item we are taking, we are going to paste it or powder it in a mixer jar. Then put some of this in a clean test tube. This is the test tube. We are going to put that food item in this test tube. Add 10 drops of water to it and shake the test tube. In this test tube, we have to add some water and we have to shake the test tube. Now, using this dropper, add 2 drops of copper sulfate. This is the copper sulfate into this, and 10 drops of solution of caustic soda. 2 drops of copper sulfate and 10 drops of caustic soda. Now shake well and let the test tube stand for a few minutes. After shaking, we have to keep the test tube aside. And after few minutes, we have to observe that what are the changes in the food color. If the color changes to violet, then we can say that protein is present in the food. Now we can repeat this test on some another food item. Here are some food items given and we have to find after tasting what is present, either starch, protein or fat. The next is taste for fats. Fats means which kind of food? Like ghee, butter. These are the fatty food. For tasting the fats, we need to take small quantity of food item, then wrap it in a piece of paper and crush it. Take care that the paper does not tear. Now straighten the paper and observe it carefully. Does it have an oily patch? If on that paper the oily patch is present, hold the paper against the light. If you will able to see light faintly through this patch, you can say that the fat is present in the food. An oily patch on a paper shows that the food item contains fat. The food items may sometimes contain a little water. Therefore, after you rubbed an item on a paper, let the paper dry for a while, and if there were any water that may have come from food, it would dry up after some time, and if no oily patch shows up after this, the food item does not contain any fat. This test shows us are fats, proteins and starch present in all the food items that you tasted? Does a food item contain more than one nutrient? Do you find any food item that does not contain any of these nutrients? We tasted food items for 3 nutrients, that is carbohydrates, proteins and fats. There are also other nutrients like vitamins and minerals that are present in different food items. So whatever this foods we have tasted, in that what were present? The carbohydrate were present, which turned the food items into dark blue color. When the protein is present, it changes the color to the violet, and if the fats are present, an oily patch remains on the paper. Now the next topic is, what do various nutrients do for our body? We have seen various kinds of nutrients, that are carbohydrates, proteins, fats, minerals. So what these nutrients are doing for our body? Next, carbohydrates provide energy to our body. Fat also gives us energy. Fat gives much more energy compared to the same amount of carbohydrates. If you will take 1 bowl of grains which contain carbohydrates, and if you will take 1 bowl of ghee which contains fat, you will get more energy from the ghee compared to carbohydrates. Now, the foods containing fats and carbohydrates are also called energy giving foods. So, whatever energy in our body is present is all because of the carbohydrates present in the food and the fats present in the food. Proteins are needed for the growth and repair of our body. We are growing day by day. So to grow our body and to repair our body or repair the cells present in our body, we need protein. Here some foods are given. So the sources of carbohydrates. From which foods we are getting carbohydrates is given over here. This is what? Sugarcane, sweet potato, papaya, melon, watermelon, mango, maize. Maize means what? You can say corn, bajra, rice and wheat. These are all what? The sources of carbohydrates. Now the next is sunflower oil, mustard oil, coconut oil, soya bean oil, nuts. Nuts means badam, pista, then groundnuts, til. These are what? The fatty foods from which we are getting fat. The next here given is meat, ghee, milk, butter, cream, eggs, fish. From this also we are getting fats and proteins. Meat and fish are the rich sources of protein. So here you can see that these are the plant products. These are also plant products, and these are the animal products. So as we have already studied, there are two sources of food, that are the plants and animals. Foods. Proteins are often called body building foods. Here also some grains or pulses are shown from which we are getting proteins, and here some milk and which from also we are getting protein. Some sources of protein are plant sources and animal sources. Proteins are often called the body building foods. Vitamins help in protecting our body against diseases. Vitamin also help in keeping our eyes, bones, teeth and gums healthy. Vitamins are of different kinds, known by different names. Some of these are vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E and K. These are the different forms of vitamins. As we have seen, carbohydrates are present in the form of starch and sugar. Vitamins are also of different types, that is A, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E and vitamin K. There is also a group of vitamin called vitamin B complex. Our body needs all types of vitamins in small quantities. Vitamin A keeps our skin and eyes healthy. Vitamin C helps body to fight against many diseases. Vitamin D help our body to use calcium for bones and teeth. Food that are rich in different vitamins are shown here. We will see in the picture. Minerals are needed by our body in small amounts. Each one is essential. The sources of vitamin A, from which food we are getting vitamin A, that is papaya, carrot, mango, milk and fish oil. And how vitamin A helps us? It keeps our skin and eyes healthy. Now the next is vitamin B. Vitamin B are rice, wheat and liver. A fish liver or a animal liver. These are the rich sources of vitamin B. Vitamin C. You can identify vitamin C products easily as they are sour in taste. Orange, tomato, amla, lemon, chili and guava. These are the sources of vitamin C. And vitamin D. How vitamin C helps us? C helps us to fight against many diseases. And vitamin D, which are butter, liver, egg, fish and milk. Vitamin D helps our body to use calcium for bones and teeth. Now the minerals are needed by our body in small amounts, and each one is essential for proper growth of body and to maintain good health. Here you can see that a sun is shown from the window and a boy is standing there. So that boy is standing to get the sun rays or to fall the sun rays on his body. Why sun rays are important? As the sun rays also contain vitamin D, and vitamin D is helpful for our bones. Most food items usually have more than one nutrient. we have noticed that in a given raw material, one particular nutrient may be present in much large quantity than other. For example, rice has more carbohydrates than other nutrients. Thus, we say that rice is a carbohydrate-rich source of food. Besides these nutrients, our body needs dietary fibers and water. Dietary fibers are also known as roughage. Roughage is mainly provided by plant products in our foods. Whole grains and pulses, potatoes, fresh fruits and vegetables are main sources of roughage. Roughage does not provide any nutrient to our body but is an essential component of our food and adds to its bulk. This helps our body get rid of undigested food. It is necessary to remove the undigested food from our body, and that undigested food is removed by our body with the help of this roughage. Now the next is minerals. We have studied about the minerals. So the different kinds of minerals are iodine, iron, calcium. These are also needed by our body. And some sources are given here. That is, you can see which are the sources of iodine. That is salt. Salt is the main source of iodine. Fish, ginger. Some sources of phosphorus, from which we are getting phosphorus: the banana, chili, rice, wheat, milk. Sources of iron: spinach, then liver, apple. Some sources of calcium, that is milk and egg. These are some sources of minerals. So water helps our body to absorb nutrients from food. It also helps in throwing out some waste from body as urine and sweat. Normally we get most of the water that our body needs from the liquids we drink, such as water, milk and tea. In addition, we add water to the most cooked foods. And there is any other source which provides water to our body? Okay, we'll see here the next activity. That is, take a tomato or a fruit like lemon, cut it into small pieces. Do our hands get wet while doing so? Carefully observe whenever vegetables and fruits are being cut, peeled, grated or mashed. We find that fresh vegetables or fruits that do not contain some amount of water. We see that many food materials themselves contain water. To some extent, our body needs are met by this water. Apart from this, we also add water while cooking many food items. In this way, our body is also getting water which is needed for the proper functioning of the body. Okay, here we will stop our today's lecture, and the next session we will do in the next lecture. Thank you.